Hey friends, this is Frobomb. Getting over COVID, so sorry if my voice is slightly raspier or more stuffy sounding than usual. We're talking about Alltynex, which is a shooting game for the FM Town's personal computer, a Japanese personal computer that came out in the 90s. And the game is really impressive. I was certainly not an owner of this computer, but I was a kid without consoles growing up for the most part, and I gamed on my dad's old, Mac that he had upstairs to do like word processing and stuff on. So I can relate to a game like this. Games like this have a special place in my heart. Emulating this was very easy to do, but I'm not sure how accurate it is. But there's a clunkiness to this game that just reminds me of the kind of like faux arcade experiences I would get on my personal computer growing up, and yeah, I like it. It's not smooth. I mean, you'll see it kind of feels. I wrote in the description in my review of this game like shmupping underwater. It's like a bit slowed down, and the processor kind of does weird shit. I don't know if it's it's the emulation, or if this actually happened on the FM towns, but the slowdown is nearly constant, and so sometimes when you'll stop shooting, the game will speed up like considerably, and that can like fuck you over. So yeah, just a little bit of jank to this game. It being a kind of Dojin creation of one person for this this home computer, but that is to say nothing in my view of its quality. It is a really well designed game, and of course the designer of this game would go on to join a couple other people and form, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Sitterskane, something like that, and do 3 more Alltynex games that are at least that as far as I can tell in the shooting game community, really well liked. And the base of all of those games is this one, I guess, a definite ode to Rayforce, and with some Cybattler thrown in there, you see that I can turn into even those enemy ships. I'm just now realizing look like the Rayforce ships, right? You can see when these 2 big enemies come down here, I'm gonna turn into a mech and just slash them like in Cybattler, and that's a really neat little mechanic. I think other games have kind of played around with that. I'm not going to say this is like innovative or anything, but it's put to really good use in this game. There's just one shot type or rather, one regular shot type and one special shot type per form. So you've got your Vulcan shot and your little homing lasers that you see me shooting out with the ship, and then you've got the melee slash, and a giant beam that you'll see later with the mech. And the scoring in this game, I just did it a little bit. You chain enemies up to, you kind of hit them in quick succession, and you can get your points per hit up to like 25,000 and change. I don't love like kind of holding my fire, to try and like have enemies survive a little bit longer, to chain the groups of enemies. So I didn't engage with the scoring system too much, but it's there if you like that sort of thing, and I could see getting a lot of mileage out of it. So this game, again, for being by one person and being just for a little obscure, or I don't know how obscure it was in Japan, but certainly outside of it obscure computer. This thing is impressive. I mean, you can see the layers of parallax going on here. The backgrounds are cool. They've got the ships flying up in the backgrounds and like coming down the screen. There's even more impressive examples of that later in the game. See, stuff like that is pretty neat. This is the stage 1 boss. There's the hyper beam that the special shot of the mech that just melts things, and that and the homing lasers are tied to the same meter at the bottom, which is far at the bottom of the screen, which is, as far as I can tell, just recharges with time, although it could be by shot, shots fired, or I'm pretty sure it's not by enemies killed. I'm pretty sure it's just by time that it goes up. So often bosses will basically be these patterns or these kind of cycles of shooting them from afar and dodging their attacks and then getting up close for a few swipes with the sword. The bosses have a ton of health, which leads me to believe that that's kind of, they're designed obviously with some melee in mind, and because that sword does such huge damage. So if you hang out at the bottom of the screen and try and shoot the bosses to death, it's going to take forever, and you're running way more risk of getting shot by something oftentimes in the later stages than you are just learning when you're safe to go up and do the sword attack. So really nice design, in my opinion, of kind of telegraphing when you should be getting up close to something and when you should be hanging back and shooting, which is a problem that I have in some other shooting games that involve a mix of shooting and melee. So kudos to this game for getting that so right. Basically what it comes down to is you shoot the popcorn enemies with your Vulcan shot and with your homing laser, and then anything big and tanky you handle with the mech sword. And all of the kind of enemy behavior, you can tell after playing the game for a while, is designed with, oh my god, that was really close to a death right there. I think I was trying to score that, maybe let those guys hang out a little bit longer on screen to see if I could clump them up and get a good chain going. Just because, sometimes when you play a bunch of early stages in a shooting game a bunch of times, you just kind of play around for score. And that's what I was doing there, and I almost died. These purple enemies are tricky. They start shooting these missile volleys pretty quick, so they're really easy to kill if you melee them right away. But whenever you're not able to, for whatever reason, you gotta be very careful, because those missiles will get you. So now you'll see I've slowly powered up my shot over the first level and a half, collecting those P items, and I think I'm at max now. I think this is what the max power shot looks like, and definitely advantageous to keep the max shot as long as possible. That, I suppose, goes without saying, but it is nice that the game is, as with many console shmups or home shmups, non-arcade shooting games, it's very lenient in that instead of killing you right away when you get hit, you just get knocked down to your bare minimum power when you get hit in this game. So basically you have a little shield, and look, I just got hit. I definitely shouldn't have lost all my shot power right there. Just a stupid mistake trying to melee these ships. But I didn't die, I just went back down to 0, which is not, that's not nothing. It takes forever to get fully powered up, like a full level, sometimes a level and a half. So that stinks, but as long as you have one power up, you basically have a shield in this game, which is a nice little gimme. Another thing you'll notice is I started with 2 lives, which is a setting that I set. I think the default was 0 lives when I first turned on the emulator. Could be not the way that it is in the real game. I have no way of knowing that. It seems weird that it would default to 0 lives, but who knows? Maybe it does. So I set myself to 2. Figured that was reasonable, and then at 5 million and 7 mil, no, wait, is it 500,000? Yeah, 500,000 and 700,000, you get 2 more extends, and then you're done with point extends. And as far as I could tell, there's no item extends in the game. Here's the Taito lasers in this game. They're goddamn so many of. This boss is just one tiny example. And look, they're all going at different accelerations. I hate these fucking things. They're my kryptonite. You'll see me have trouble with them throughout. Probably take a death or 2 to them. That boss was, again, and I didn't talk through it, but that was another example of just kind of memorizing the behavior and looking for the optimal path to use the melee attack. And both in that one and in the first, by the way, red enemies hold the power-ups. That should be obvious, like, from the very first time you play the game, but just in case you didn't notice that. Oh, I got hit again. For this mid-boss, it's best to position that laser right in the middle of those arms. Give him a couple slashes in his face. Stay to the side, and then go slash him. But you got to be really aggressive with your slashing, because your slash does cancel bullets, the yellow ones anyway, not lasers. But if you hesitate, you know, you're gonna get hit because you're extremely close to the point where they're releasing from the enemy. So when you have a plan like that, where you can both get hits on an enemy and cancel the bullets that they're shooting directly out of them, you just gotta be really confident and just mash that thing. Because if you hesitate even for a second, once you're up in the grill, it's a hit. And you know, if you're powered down, maybe a death. Here's a chain, 25,000. Oh, and then I lost it there. See, it wants you to like kind of hold back and try and keep that chain alive by keeping some enemies alive, but it just didn't feel good to me. I didn't like doing it, so I didn't. The game is, again, well designed enough that even if you're not playing for score, it kind of tantalizes you with the prospect of playing for score by giving you these easy chain opportunities. So you will see me hit the max, hit number a few times. Fair few times. Like maybe here we get it too. Nope. These big enemies are pretty easy to just take out with the sword, as long as you kill them quick enough before they start shooting straight down and stay obviously not directly in front of them. The sword has a nice range where it can hit ships. Like you can basically be to their side and miss their frontal fire and get them. The backgrounds are kind of fucked in this emulation. I think I don't assume it looks exactly this way on real FM towns. The emulator I used was UNZ, UNZ. Again, very easy to set up. I used the kind of CPU settings recommended by a README. Yikes, that's close. Recommended by README in the kind of ROM I downloaded or game file I downloaded, but I can only trust, I can only hope that that's accurate and that this is how the game is supposed to run. I did try it at a faster CPU and it got real speedy, and that felt like kind of okay, but this felt more normal. And I did try and look up a couple of gameplay videos that I wasn't 100% sure were on real hardware, but it kind of seemed like they were. So, and anyway, a few gameplay videos I watched had roughly the same kind of, oh shit, look at me almost get, oh my god, that was horrible. I should just stay in front of that turret and just knock it out really easily, but somehow I got off of my route that I normally do that, and I had to dodge all those bullets. Oh, and my power up, because I lost it all the way back in the in that earlier level. My power isn't quite strong enough to handle those missile volleys, and so I ended up powering down yet again with a hit. So that makes this boss even more fun than it would be otherwise. So I'm waiting for these missiles to get kind of close to me, and then I'm using my my big beam to get rid of the missiles and hit the boss. But be careful, because the big laser beam does obscure the lasers of that are coming at you. It does not cancel them, though it does cancel any yellow bullets, so that's nice. And here come more Taito lasers, which are the bane of my existence. I won't belabor the point and like bitch at and moan about them every time I see them, but there sure are a lot of them in this game, and a lot of different like little evil formations and numbers of them, and yeah, I would say they're a definite negative. Not too bad, doesn't like ruin the game, but it's like, come on, did we really have to do all those? Okay, so that's again an opportunity to just melee the fuck out of that boss that I got too greedy. I should have taken 3 swings. I took 4 and I paid for it. But oh well. So one life down. Could have gotten out of there with a no miss for sure. But sometimes you get a little greedy and you think you can get one more whack in. 4th area. Music in this game is really good. Presentation overall is pretty top-notch. Input delay on the emulator is considerable, so be warned. I feel like, based on how much it gets discussed in great detail on Discord, I feel like there's some people out there who might take issue with this, but the game, being that it kind of chugs along at this sort of slow rate, I mean, it's no, it's no Psycho, it's no early toll plan. It's not gonna, it's not speedy bullets coming at you ever. So the input delay is not that big of a deal. It might just make it hard to actually react to stuff organically if you're like super frantically panicking, but I found that most situations could be kind of easily anticipated or flat out memorized, and it made it not a big deal. These giant purple ships, you really just want to get rid of them as soon as possible, and if there are 2 of them like that, sword one and then beam the other so you can get rid of all of its missiles as quickly as possible. My power is like only 3 from the bottom. It's not that good. I should be way more powered up right now. For these big orange ships with these little blue lasers, I kind of let them come down the screen a little bit. Basically, like, this is meter management, what I'm doing. I could just like, I don't ever want to like have no meter for homing missiles or for beams. So whenever something giant like that, like this ship right here, comes on the screen, I could just beam it, but in order to save a little beam, I'll hit it with some fire first and then beam it to death, and always have a little chunk left. Because like here for instance, it's definitely advantageous to shoot off a few homing missiles to make sure that to just ensure your safety through this kind of hectic part. Boy, I do not like this background. This background makes it hard as fuck to see what the hell is going on. Understand that it looks a little bit neat and less plain than the others. Here's a cool like sprite scaling effect. That's pretty impressive. Sword all these guys. They shoot almost horizontally aimed at you. So it's like you can kind of leave a couple on screen, but you don't want to leave too many on screen. That was really good handling of that first wave of them. Made it look pretty easy, but if you kind of don't time one of them right, and you can very quickly get overwhelmed. I think I do here, like I miss a sword swing or something, and then that was close. All of a sudden there's like too many. and then I just resort to beam. Oh, I see. Okay. So I was dodging bullets and got too far down the screen, and then time got away from me, and so just time to power through it with beam and missile fire. Same thing here. I'm gonna beam these guns because they to me are the most dangerous, and then I'm just gonna hang out and dodge this relatively easy pattern and just get some of my meter back because the boss is coming up. And of course you could get psyched out by this pattern and the input delay doesn't help, but I managed okay. And you can see the meter slowly getting larger or more filled, and so yeah, sometimes it's in your best interest to just kind of hang out and not speed kill a boss or a mid boss or whatever, a big enemy, to conserve meter. Alright, this is one of a couple points where stuff comes in from the side and very close to the bottom, so I just move up to the middle / top of the screen and start releasing homing missiles, and that takes care of these guys pretty handily. This is a really difficult boss 4. I found the best way to deal with this first phase is just to beam this arm off as quickly as possible. Otherwise there's some really tight dodging that you need to do, and that's just a way to avoid it. And then this attack isn't hard to dodge, but then I think he releases just a shitload of missiles, and I'm not powered up enough to where I should be, so I screw this up, and now I'm back down to 0, and being at 0 power for this boss is just, it's not fun. So again, there's always points where you should think about, like, can I get up there and sword this guy? And at that point, when he's doing those kind of you know, those that spray of bullets that are cancelable with your sword. Oh, look here! I tried a new strat there. I thought maybe that's a place, and I can dodge those arms where I could hit him with the sword. Nope, that was a big fail. And also, I played this like 3 times and had an excellent strategy for that part that worked really well. And then the last couple times, it just didn't work. I got psyched out by it. I don't know why. You just memorize the kind of behavior of those lasers, and you can get through that cycle of that boss without too much difficulty. The game is 5 stages. I was scared that it was a boss rush with like a ton of bosses the first time I played it, but luckily that's not the case. There's like an intro boss, and then a final boss, and then a true last boss that I think only appears if you you haven't continued up to this point. And look, it gives you, as long as you get through that section alive, you get a bunch of nice power-ups to go into this boss with. And this boss starts out at the bottom, FYI. I almost forgot. I feel like, I don't know, I missed it. I don't know if it was in this run or another one, but just hanging out at the bottom of the screen, like probably even looking at my phone, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, he starts at the bottom and shoots lasers at you, so. Alright, really easy here. You just want to, with max power, you just want to focus on killing this first side and getting over to the other side before he starts his next phase. So usually you can do that pretty easily, and there I did it. So I got over to this side. Now I can hit this wing while dodging these pretty chintzy little spreads and staying safe from the straight down laser. And that side's dead. And now I'm gonna beam, I think. Here come the tidal lasers. Oh, I hate them so much. Okay, now I'm gonna beam. And now here come these bombs that their explosions will kill you after they're shot. So be careful of that. And now when he starts doing this, you just want to be right in the center and it'll all miss you and he'll die. Final target, that's a lie. The first time I beat this, I was excited and thought I had cleared, and then, of course, the true last boss appears. Alright, tidal lasers for days. There's just so many of them, and they get me eventually. There goes my max power. I'm down to a pea shooter. And now you sweep up the screen, follow in the direction of these lasers, and slash the shit out of the guy when you can. The guy. I don't know what to call it. Base. Oh, it's just a weakness for me. I can't reliably dodge that shit. Alright, we're down to 1 life. So we have one death to take. There's a 0 life state, which in some shooting games there's not. I didn't mention it before, but this is hard mode. And I think all the different modes do is, or I mean, the primary thing they do anyway is increase enemy health, which is really annoying. Like popcorn enemies are way harder to kill in very hard mode, so I stuck with hard mode. Okay, in this, you definitely have a sword opportunity when, like, I got a few hits off there. Oh, okay. So yeah, when he's switching arms to do his lasers, that's when you go up and you sword those. These things explode, like in Boss 4 of Ibarra, if you've ever played that game. If you shoot them, they explode into spreads, so you just leave them alone, and you move up the screen and you sword these things off. And now I believe you hit the middle pillar. Yeah, where the arms connect to the body is where the next hit point is. And you have to do these in order. They're not all vulnerable at the same time. So this is just like basically phases. I don't know why I'm not just beaming the shit out of this right now. Okay, there I go. It's like, yeah, beam it to fucking death. I don't know why I'm being conservative. Because I think this is, I guess I didn't know how many more phases I would have to deal with. But my shot power is so weak that it's like, I really had no other choice. And so now I'm just like, I decided to just get up there and get as many slashes I had as I possibly could get in, thinking that I would take a death here. Did I? I did, okay. But I figured that was worth it just to get all the sword slashes I could in, because I had that extra life, and that ended up paying off. If I had just like tried to really play it safe and not like risk getting up close, might not have made that clear happen. But so yeah, it's a good strategy. All right, and unfortunately we don't know the story here, because I didn't bother to install the translation patch that does exist for this game. But that's okay. I'm sure it's a wonderful story, but it doesn't really matter. It's a wonderful game. That's what does matter. And I believe the guy who made it is named Satoshi Yoshida, and kudos to that guy. I really liked this. And I'm excited to play more Sitterskane stuff. Ciderskane? Well, I want to say Sitterskane. That sounds cool. I don't know. You can sound off in the comments if you know exactly how to pronounce that name. Yeah, so this was a little bit more of an obscure game, an obscure play. So hope you liked it. Thanks for watching, and cheers.